Hello, ladies and gentlemen. For you guys that don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content. All these videos they get posted over to a subreddit. I'll have it linked down below. If you're looking for more in-depth content, I'll have my Discord link down below. And if you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter. All right, we will go over my lineups in tomorrow's video. Obviously, the slate just started. I don't have players locked, so I can't go over the lineup right now. But the players that I made 5 lineups today. I usually don't make more than 2, but I got spicy, I guess. I loaded up. I wouldn't say I loaded up, but I played a ton of Suns. I thought the Phoenix Suns were going way overlooked today. So like, I think I have some Royce O'Neal today. I think I have like some Dylan Brooks. I have a lot of Booker. And then those are in my secondary lineups. My main lineup has Paolo Banchero, and then I played the chalk. Like, I got away from Norm Powell in my secondary lineups, and he's shattering it. Luckily, he's in my main lineup though. Obviously, I have Musa, Norm Powell in my main lineup. Quickly, he's having a really good game so far. Where I need Jamie to pick it up, and then I got different with those Suns like Royce O'Neal, Devin Booker, Mark Williams, who I was really, really high on in the public video. So hopefully they go off. I am praying to God they go off, right? Let's go over the slate. One thing to note on this slate, a lot of teams are on a back-to-back. We have Orlando on a back-to-back. We have Phoenix on a back-to-back. We have Pelicans on a back-to-back. We have the Bucks on a back-to-back. We have the Bulls on a back-to-back. We have Atlanta on a back-to-back. We have... Oh boy. We have Indiana on a back-to-back. We have Miami on a back-to-back. So there's probably going to be absolute mayhem on the injury reports tonight and tomorrow. So just make sure you're over on Reddit. I'll always make updates. Probably a lot's going to change from this video, but we'll go over it. All right, Denver. Not the best matchup here for... Let me mute my phone's apologies. Not the best matchup here for Denver, although with the injuries that Orlando has right now, their defense hasn't been as good. And we also need to keep an eye on Goga Patate. He was out tonight. That's going to impact their defense a lot because he's a really, really good defender around the rim. All right, so we got the Tim Hardaway Jr. start last game. He was a good play. He played massive minutes in overtime. I'm expecting him to be Giga Chalk tomorrow once again. I'm not going to say he's a must. This was the worst possible matchup you could possibly get, going spot-up shooters up against Minnesota. He wasn't doing amazing until that overtime when he got I believe he got like 5 fantasy points in overtime. He would have ended with like 22, I believe. But he shot the ball 16 times. Like, if you're going to get a guy at 4.3K that's going to shoot the ball 16 times, even in a really bad spot, like, he's going to be a great value. I'm a little bit worried about the ownership. I'm a little bit worried about the matchup because, like I said, like I always say, Orlando, they're really tough against spot-up shooters because they don't help. They lead players one-on-one, right? So I'm not calling him a must. I'm saying if he is above like 60% owned tomorrow, it's not someone I'm going to go out of my way to play. Great value, not factoring in ownership, but not someone I'm jamming into my lineups at 60+% ownership. So we'll see what that ownership comes into. Peyton Watson going to play huge minutes. He just didn't really do anything with it. This spot's not as good either. I think he's fine. I think everyone's going to load up on Denver again tomorrow, and this game environment isn't as good as the last one, but he's fine. He's a good value. I absolutely love Jamal Murray on this slate. I think he's one of my favorite plays in the entire slate. I always say it. I'm going to say it a lot. I always say that word. I always say this. I'm going to say it again. Pick and roll ball handlers, lead guards, up against the Magic. It's an amazing matchup. Jamal Murray's been incredible. People don't like to click anyone up against Orlando. That's probably going to change tomorrow with the value here. I absolutely love Jamal Murray. I think he's one of the best plays in the slate if he is not like Giga Chalk, right? Jokic is phenomenal as well. It's hard. It's hard to ever say Jokic is a bad play. And then you got big minutes for Spencer Jones. Minnesota was leaving him open. I'm not entirely sure Orlando is going to do the same thing here. So tougher spot for him. He was in a good spot last game with Minnesota, basically just leaving him wide open, letting him do what he wants. Going to be an ownership play for me, but a fine pivot off Tim Hardaway Jr. if you wanted to do that. And then Bruce Brown's going to play big minutes as well. I think he is another solid value. So, unfortunately, Denver is going to be Giga Chalk once again tomorrow with these guys out. Jonas Valanciunas is playable. and that's it. I don't think it's as good of chalk as it was last slate, but still obviously really good plays. And I think Jamal Murray's my favorite play, and I don't think it's relatively close. All right, let's move on to the Orlando side. Franz Wagner, Jalen Suggs missed the game tonight. Goga Patate as well. We'll have to keep an eye on it. If they're both out once again tomorrow, this is a fine spot. I love Paolo Banchero. We'll see how many minutes he ends with tonight if that game stays competitive. Right now, Charlotte can't miss. But I love him. I think he's an amazing spend up. Desmond Bane is fine at 7.7K. Hard for me to justify paying 7K for Anthony Black when you have Desmond Bane and Paolo Banchero for less than $1,000 more. Wendell Carter Jr. is in a tough spot. I think we can get some better center plays there. Tyus Jones, I do want to see how many minutes he does end with tonight, but we do have Tristan DeSilva back. We'll see if he plays on the back-to-back. I will say if Tristan DeSilva somehow sits on a back-to-back, then I think Tyus Jones is a lot better. If Tyus plays like 30 minutes tonight with Tristan DeSilva in, then yeah, sure, I don't mind it. Now, I do want to see what Orlando does with like the backup center situation here with no Goga. If Goga's out tomorrow, I'm sure it's probably Isaac, but I don't have that game on right now. Yeah, and if we get like Suggs in, or I don't know, like Suggs in, Black's unplayable, I'm not going to get to Anthony Black, then Tyus is unplayable. I still love Paolo. Bane would still be fine. All right, let's get to Phoenix. It's the same spot. I would assume Jalen Green and Grayson Allen are going to sit. Jalen Green's going to sit. I would assume Grayson Allen's going to be out for this one once again here. My analysis doesn't change from the other video. I love these guys in tournaments. I love Mark Williams at 5.4K. I love Dylan Brooks at 6.1K. I love Devin Booker at 8.6K. I think Gillespie's completely fine. With no Grayson Allen, no Jalen Green, Royce O'Neal's going to start. He's going to play big minutes. This is an amazing matchup for him. I think he's a really good value. Jordan Goodwin's playable at the 4.1K price point. So a lot of stuff I definitely want to get into here tomorrow for sure. And then on the Pelican side, this is a back-to-back, so Zion should probably sit. He did play a back-to-back here. We'll see how many minutes he ends with tonight. But good sign he played a back-to-back. Yeah, if you're getting into like Phoenix and you want to play like a minutes limit Zion Williamson and like large field GPPs, I completely understand it. I don't love much here. If Poole plays on a back-to-back, he's probably my second favorite play. Fears at 4.8K, he's playable. Would prefer Zion sitting. I don't love much, to be honest, on the Pelicans side. Let's move on to the Milwaukee Bucks. Gary Trent Jr. sat the game tonight. We'll see if he is back. Doesn't really change too much. Great spot here. I think the headline here is definitely Bobby Portis at 6.1K. Doc Rivers, he's had these quotes about the Bucks need to rebound the ball more. They want to play Bobby Portis more. This is a great matchup. So I would expect to continue to see over 30 minutes here from Bobby Portis. And if we're getting over 30 minutes from him, he's around a 7K player. So you're still getting him at a great discount here. He looks great point per dollar tomorrow. And I like these cheaper plays. I like Kyle Kuzma at 5.3. Good in pace-up spots, good in transition. So I think Kuzma's good. Miles Turner I have interest in playing up against like Vooch drop coverage, so it's a great spot for him. So I really like Miles Turner in GPPs. Kevin Porter Jr. at 8.9K. I know it's a tough price to pay, but this is a great spot for him. I don't love Ryan Rollins at 6.6K. Let's move on to the Chicago side. Once again, they're on a back-to-back, so keep an eye on if like Kobe White sits. Who else could possibly sit? Even Io. Trey Jones, Kevin Huerter could sit in a back-to-back, so just keep an eye on it. Yeah, I think Giddey's playable. I think there are some other spin-ups. I think I'd rather play in tournaments tomorrow. It doesn't make him auto-play for me, but great environment here. 9.1K, it's a good price point. I will say, the Bulls do typically like to limit their guys on back-to-back, so that's a little bit downgrade there. If he finishes with, low minutes tonight, or the game, blows out tonight for some reason, then I feel more confident in his minutes, but I would be a little bit careful there. Vooch at 6.5 is playable. They want to play him right now, but once again, caution with the back-to-back stuff, and it's hard to say what I want to do right now. I think we'll just get better value than the Chicago Bums, but if we get no value, sure, I don't mind Trey Jones at 4.5K. All right, let's move on to New York. Josh Hart is going to be out for this game. Landry Shamet is going to be out for this game. Miles McBride is listed as questionable. So Josh Hart got hurt on Christmas. You saw a huge bump for Tyler Kolek, Jordan Clarkson with no Miles McBride and no Josh Hart. I do want to see how owned those guys are going to be tomorrow. I would assume they just go double. They could go one of Clarkson, Kolek. They closed with Kolek. or they can go double big. So just keep an eye on it. Mitchell Robinson at 4.8K is playable at 4.8K. I don't think his minutes are going to change like drastically whether he starts or comes off the bench. He's like fine. I really, really like the spot for Karl-Anthony Towns here. Like, I really like him in GPPs tomorrow. Probably going to be very, very low owned. So he's a pretty strong play for me. No issues with Brunson. I prefer Cat. With no Josh Hart, Mikal OG, they get a bump. They're already, like, price adjusted. They were already, like, priced up when people were out. So I think they're fairly priced. And then, yeah, I do want to see what the ownership is going to be tomorrow on Jordan Clarkson and Tyler Kolek. But they do get a bump if Miles McBride's out, and if one of them starts, I would feel a lot better. So whoever starts would be a really good value. Whoever comes off the bench would be a really good value. Mitchell Robinson doesn't really change too much for me, and I really like Cat. I think Brunson's playable. Mikal OG, they're both fine as well. All right, let's move on to Atlanta. So I would think Trae Young sits here on a back-to-back. I'm fairly certain he's going to sit here. So if Trae Young's out, I mean, Jalen Johnson's production has been absolutely absurd when Trae Young's off the court. It's still really good when Trae Young is on the court, but absolutely I don't know what the word is, astronomically massive when Trae Young is off the court. So JD will probably be one of the best spend-ups on the entire slate if Trae Young is out. And then we can get into like Dyson Daniels, Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Both would be good plays. They're more so priced correctly with Trae Young in. Okongwu, I don't love this spot. And then if we get like Trae out, sure, we can take shots on like Vit. We can take shots on like Richter and those guys. If Trae's in, it's just the top two guys for me, really. All right, moving on to the Utah side here. Looks like they're fully healthy. This is such a bad matchup going up against the Spurs. The Spurs are just a nightmare for anyone. I think I'm, unfortunately, probably full fading Utah tomorrow. Collier at 4-4 is like decent. I don't know if I want to get into like Lauri Markkanen and Keontae George, to be honest. All right, De'Aaron Fox listed as questionable. That's going to implicate a lot. If he is out, Dylan Harper shoots up to one of the better value plays in the board at 4.9K in an amazing matchup. Wemby off the bench, hard to get to. We'll see if they start him some random games. And then, yeah, Fox out, Castle looks great. I love the matchup for Devin Vassell here. I would really like him. Dylan Harper would look great. I think like even Keldon Johnson is playable. Cornette's fine just because he's so cheap. Same with Harrison Barnes. Like, you couldn't get a better matchup here for Harrison Barnes. Like, I don't mind it in tournaments. And then if we get Fox in, then yeah, I still like Castle. I still have interest in Vassell in GPPs. Harper's minutes are so up and down. Like, some games look close with him, some they won't. But the matchup's so good, definitely keep him in your player pool. Same with Harrison Barnes. All right, let's move on to the Cleveland side. So they're getting healthier. This is a really tough matchup. I'm mainly out. I would expect Evan Mobley to still be on a limit. I'm out. Donovan Mitchell's fine. I'm not going to get to much else. All right, Houston side of things, more injury news need to keep an eye on here. I would expect him to play. He was questionable last game and still played. That was Christmas, I believe. I would expect him in here. We got the Tari Eason start last game. I don't know if they start him in this matchup. We'll have to see. Actually, I think it makes more sense to start him in this matchup over Koji. I think they started Eason last matchup, so they could have a Koji come off the bench and play Reed Shepherd less minutes, so Luka Doncic and Austin Reeves couldn't hunt Reed Shepherd as much. I think that's why they started Tari Eason, but I think this is a matchup where it also makes sense to start Tari. He got up to 26 minutes last game. I think regardless if he comes off the bench or starts, he's an amazing value. I don't want to play Reed. Good spot here for Jabari Smith. I actually think he's really, really sneaky tomorrow as a play that I don't think too many people are on. Really good matchup for him, so I kind of like him. And then KD, Amon, Sengun, they're all fine. If Sengun's out, then we have to get into these guys. Then Durant looks great. Then Amon looks great. I like Jabari Smith even more. Steven Adams at 3.7K would be a great value. Tari Eason would be a phenomenal value. You guys know the drill. All right, let's move on to Indiana. They're also on a back-to-back. Yeah, I mean, pace-up spot, we always want to get into Miami. Jay Huff's having a really good game tonight. He's fine. T.J. McConnell's having a really good game, but I don't love playing him on back-to-backs. Quentin Jackson will probably have better value, but he's playable. And then I think the top guys are, like, solid. I think Nembhard's my favorite, but none of them really must for me. And then we get to Miami. Bam Adebayo is at the game tonight. Same with Harrow. We'll see if they're back. If they're both out, we know what to do. Then it's going to be chalk madness again. Then Norm Powell looks great. Then Ware looks great. Then Jamie looks great. Then Wiggins looks great. Davion's a really solid play. Pelly Larson's a really good value. There would be no getting away from Miami. You would have to play at least one, probably in every single lineup tomorrow. And if we get Bam Adebayo back, I still like Ware. I still have interest in Ware. This is a really good spot for Bam. He'd probably be one of my favorite mid-range plays in the entire slate, assuming no limitations. Norm Powell will be fine. Jamie downgrade, but still playable. Same with Andrew Wiggins. And then Davion doesn't really change too much for me, and I wouldn't really be into Pelly at all. All right, Cam Thomas back. Exciting here. This is just a horrible matchup for both Michael Porter Jr. and Cam Thomas. Like I said, Minnesota, they don't help. They don't leave shooters open. So, this is a horrible spot for both. I will pass on the entire Brooklyn team. And then the biggest news of the slate, Anthony Edwards listed as questionable. Same drill. We know what to do if he's out. You jam Randall, he would look great. Dante DiVincenzo would be solid. I'm not going to say amazing because the price point's up, and Brooklyn are the toughest matchup in the league for lead guards. So they're probably going to double Dante DiVincenzo tomorrow if Anthony Edwards is out. So just be careful there if he's Giga Chalk. Bones Highland would be really good at 4.6K. What else do we have here? Nas would get a bump. Rudy Gobert doesn't really change too much. That's if both Ant and Mike Conley are out. If Ant's out, Mike Conley's in, then I really like Mike. Bones would be playable. Still be cautious with a Dante, and still would love Randall. And if Ant plays, it would be interesting to see do the Nets double Ant here? They usually typically only double the lead ball handler. I mean, it's Ant, right? So they're probably going to double Ant. So it's a really good match for Randall. So I like Randall. If they for some reason don't double Ant and they leave him, then he would be phenomenal. And then, the rest of the guys downgrades for me. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Hope you guys had a great night. I will talk to you all later.